Some stories live a life of their own. Let's do some myth-busting about one local legend, the Cockayne Tunnel. Because of the reclusive nature of the Cockayne family, their old farmhouse, built about 1850, has long been the subject of speculation. A persistent Marshall County rumor has it that there once existed some sort of underground tunnel that reached from the Cockayne house down to the Ohio River. That same legend claims that there's a secret room upstairs in the house that was used to hide runaway slaves as part of the Underground Railroad. But is this legend true? Is there a Cockayne Tunnel? First, let's explore the secret room. At the very back of the house upstairs, there is a very small room. This room is reached only by walking through a back bedroom and opening what might at first look just like a closet door. It was found with just a stove, a bed, and a dresser inside. To our modern eyes, it does seem an odd space. Even more strange are the small closets tucked into the side of the room. Look at the room from the outside of the house, though, and you discover one very important detail. The room isn't secret at all. As an addition built on after the rest of the house was finished, it's plainly visible sticking off the back of the house. Slave catchers trained to look for even the sneakiest hideaways would have spotted this space in an instant. Even those suspicious closets have doors that are obvious the second you walk into the room. Great for stashing those Christmas decorations, but horrible for hiding fugitives. Likely a maid's or servant's living space, and conveniently situated off the back stairs coming from the kitchen, this secret room is just not secret. The other key piece of the story that's missing, literally, is the tunnel itself. In preserving the farmhouse and the artifacts it holds, staff and volunteers of the project have been in every corner of the structure from attic to root cellar, which, by the way, is the only underground portion of the house and sits only under the kitchen. During the 1950s and 60s, large sections of the Cockayne farm were sold by the Cockayne brothers and turned into the housing developments that are there today. And at no point during any of this construction did evidence of any tunnel emerge. In 2013, the farmhouse had a geothermal heating system installed to preserve the artifacts. This required digging a large pad directly behind the house. Once again, no tunnel was discovered. If you're still not convinced, let's take a look at a map. The river sits almost half a mile from the Cockayne house. On top of that, this whole area was once referred to as Gravel Bottom for a very good reason. You'd have to dig at least 10 feet down before you hit anything solid enough to dig a tunnel. Constructing such a tunnel in the best of circumstances would have taken years for a 19th century farmer, and if discovered, would have meant charges of treason and the confiscation of their property. It's just simply not practical. It's also unnecessary. During the 19th century, most of modern Glendale was part of the Cockayne farm, meaning they had no near neighbors. It would have been far easier to simply wait for cover of darkness and slip down to the river without ever being seen by anyone. But even without a tunnel, it's still possible the Cockaynes were abolitionists, right? Wrong. In fact, the Cockaynes' politics make it extremely unlikely that they would have broken the law to harbor fugitive slaves. Among the many pieces of ephemera left in the farmhouse is a National Democratic ticket from the election of 1860. It endorses John C. Breckinridge for president, the man running against Abraham Lincoln, who would eventually be indicted for treason after taking a commission in the Confederate Army. Though the Cockaynes themselves were not slave owners, and don't seem to have been very outspoken in their politics during the Civil War era, all the evidence suggests that, if anything, they leaned more south than north. With the harboring of runaway slaves being illegal under the Fugitive Slave Act, only die-hard abolitionists risked helping slaves to freedom, and die-hard abolitionists the Cockaynes were not. So how did this rumor get started? To this day, we're not sure. But even the craziest rumors often have some element of truth. Maybe, sometime, someone did see something down by the river. Perhaps there even was a tunnel, or something that looked like one. If so, it most likely wasn't for hiding slaves, but for storing ice. Prior to in-home refrigeration, many farms and plantations, especially wealthy ones like the Cockaynes, had ice houses for keeping food cold. These were sometimes dug into the side of a hill, so that they would be partially underground, where temperatures remained consistently cooler. They would be filled with snow and ice during the winter, chipped from frozen rivers or lakes, and then packed with straw or sawdust so the ice would last all year. While we haven't yet found any evidence that the Cockaynes had an ice house, or that it started the rumor of an underground tunnel, this explanation is much more likely than the Cockaynes secretly ferrying slaves. When it comes to history, there's always more to learn.